Hey everybody, Miss Biz here. Today I'm going to teach you everything that you want or need to know about woodworking in Elder Scrolls Online. If you're looking at getting into the craft, or maybe you're just looking for a couple tips or the basic how-to, this is definitely the guide you want to check out. I'm going to start this off by just going over the skill tree. This way you can look at how many skill points you're looking to invest into woodworking, what all the different passives do, and what you want to spend skill points in, what you don't, all that kind of good stuff. So we'll look at the entire skill tree. As you can see, I'm maxed out, so your tooltips will not say the exact same thing right now, but every passive, it just gets a little better as you move on. First passive we have is woodworking. This allows the use of sanded nightwood. Now, at first it's going to say some other version of wood, and this is what you have to put points into to be able to craft higher level woodworking items. So if you want to get out of making 1 to 14 level items, you're going to need to put a skill point into woodworking to be able to craft with the next material that will allow for higher level items. Next up, we have keen eye. This works the same as it does for all the other crafts. Wood in the world will be easier to see when you are X meters or closer. Now, if you have 1 skill point in, this is going to say 20 meters or closer, 2 skill points, 30 meters or closer, or if you're like me and you have all 3 skill points in, you'll be able to see wood farther away when you are actually 40 meters away. So it's really helpful when you're out harvesting. Here you have our lumberjack hireling. A lumberjack hireling will send you more wood every day, And here we have our lumberjack hireling. A lumberjack hireling will send you wood every 24 hours or every day. So that's what's actually going to say when you only invest 1 skill point into this tree. When you invest a second one, like I have here, it will send you more wood and possibly better items every day. So that's really cool. It's just going to give us more stuff and better stuff. If you want to put a 3rd skill point in, when you go offline, they're going to send you stuff, and it'll be good stuff, every 12 hours. Now, there's a good reason I don't actually have this 3 out of 3 skill points. Your timer resets for when you'll get your next mail as soon as you pick up your last mail. So if you go for 3 out of 3 skill points, in all reality, to get your mail every day, you have to be able to log on every 12 hours on the dot. Because let's say I log on at 6 o'clock at night. If I have the 12-hour hireling, I need to log on at 6 o'clock the next morning. If I don't have a chance and I don't log on until noon the next day, until like lunchtime, 12 o'clock, then I'm going to have to wait a whole nother 12 hours till midnight, 12, until that mail actually comes again. It doesn't stay attached to the very first timer. It just works off of the last time you picked up the mail. I can't log in every 12 hours, so I just put in for the 24-hour hireling. Wood extraction. This maximizes the chances of extracting woodworking ingredients and allows refining of the most powerful resins from raw materials. Now, what this means is that when you are actually refining your raw materials, you'll see that we might get trait stones, we might get improvement materials, all that kind of good stuff. That's what this does. There's no actual math involved in the tooltip. When you put 1 out of 3 skill points in, you just have a good chance. 2 out of 3 skill points, you have a better chance. And 3 out of 3, it maximizes your chances. This is a really good one to have because you can get a lot of your gold improvement materials from refining raw materials. Then we have carpentry. This, the very first skill point in, will reduce research times by 5% and allow the research of 2 items at once. You'll notice I don't have any skill points in this. That's because when our skill points reset, I'm on my very last woodworking item to research, so it wasn't worth putting skill points back in. But when you are actually trying to do all your research and level this craft up, this is a great thing to have. Without any skill points, you can only research 1 item at a time. Now, if you were to put a skill point in, it reduces it by 5%. If you put another skill point in, it's going to reduce it by 10% and keep on going. By the time you get to 4 out of 4 on carpentry, you will be able to research 3 different items at once, and it'll reduce the research times by 25%. It's amazing. Also remember, if you're an ESO Plus member, you also have reduced research times just because of that. Now our last one is resin expertise. I have 3 out of 3 in this, so that's the tooltip I'll read off first. More than doubles the chances to improve items with resins. When we go over how to improve items, I'm going to show you that you have to use a certain amount of improvement materials in order to improve that item. If you keep putting skill points into this, it actually just makes it so you do not need to use as many improvement materials in order to get your chances higher up, like to 100%. This is great to have when you actually start making yourself gear that is not white, because that way you're saving yourself on improvement materials. So now that we know what we're going to want to put skill points into and what passives are available to us, we're going to go head to a woodworking station and see what it's all about. First off, how do you even find a woodworking station? Well, this icon that you see right here signifies a woodworking station. So we're right close to it. We'll just head on over there. Now I just walk up to the station and use it, and you'll notice my very first screen is refine. In order to even begin woodworking, you're going to have to acquire raw materials or refined materials already, but raw materials are best. You can do this by actually harvesting them in the world, or by purchasing them from other members, other players, maybe in a guild trader store. So, once you've actually harvested a couple things, which I'll show you here right away, you just need to add it to your slot, hit R for refine. You'll notice that I need a minimum of 10 raw materials in order to refine anything. So let's try with our rough birch now that we have 27 of. You'll see after I refine it, I have 17 left. Here I have 10 sanded birch, and I received a ruby. So that's handy. That's why you prefer refining raw materials rather than purchasing the already refined materials. Let's try again. This time I got 9 sanded birch, but I also got turpin, which is a blue improvement material. That's good. That's why you really want to put skill points into that one passive that helps you get better things in the end. Now I'm going to go show you when you're out harvesting in the world, if that's how you choose to acquire your raw materials, what exactly it's going to look like. Here you can see we ran up upon some raw materials we will need for woodworking. Here I have birch. You're always going to find the materials that are appropriate level for the zone you are in. Just walk up to it and harvest it. Wood can often be found near shores, such as driftwood, or underneath the trees, so that's a good place to look for it. Also note that with the smoke you saw coming off of the birch I just harvested is due to the keen eye ability, and when you first start your craft and harvesting, it won't be so easy to spot. That's why keen eye is a good one to at least put one skill point into. Just to have another look at how you can find wood in the world, here we found some birch underneath a tree. As I mentioned earlier, the smoke that you see and the little bit of glow that's there is only due to the keen eye ability. It might be a little harder to spot without it. We'll actually jump onto another character right now and show you what it looks like when you don't have that ability. Here you're able to see how tough wood can be to harvest in the world without the keen eye ability. If you look really closely right here, there's some maple, but if we run back a little ways, it's pretty hard to spot. It just kind of blends in with the rest of the world. So keen eye, even if just you put one skill point in, it's going to help you out a lot with this ability. With keen eye, even if you just put one skill point in, it's going to help you out a lot with harvesting. So now we know how to actually acquire the raw materials that you need to refine so that you can actually start crafting. The next tab we have is the creation screen. Here you have a couple options to show what you have the items to create, as well what you have the knowledge and you've actually learned so far. So underneath it here we have two options. You can create weapons or you can create apparel or armor. The only armor that woodworking offers is a shield. For weapons though, they do offer bow, inferno staff, ice staff, lightning staff, and restoration staff. So those are all the things that you can make once you learn the woodworking craft. So we're going to make a bow this time around. The next option you have is to choose the type of material. If you're just starting out, there won't actually be any choices here because you'll only be able to craft the very first material, which is maple. Once you put more skill points into the woodworking passive, this is when you'll be able to learn the next material. So when you're 1 out of 9, you'll know maple. When you're 2 out of 9, once you have found and acquired some materials, you'll be able to work with oak. Now, this does change the style of the weapon a little tiny bit as you level up, but that is not the point of the material. You're using a different material and different amounts of material to actually determine the level of the crafted item. So as you can see, if I use 3 pieces of sanded maple, I'm going to create a level 1 bow. If I raise this up to 7 pieces, now I will create a level 10 bow. This goes all the way up to level 14, and then I have to move on to sanded oak. This will carry me all the way from level 16 to level 24. Next up, we have sanded beech. This would be level 26 all the way to level 34. You'll notice all your crafted items actually only go by every other level. It's always an even number, 32 to 34. You can't actually craft a level 33 item. After beech, we have hickory. Hickory goes from level 36 up to level 44. Yew, this goes from level 46 to level 50. Once you move on to sanded birch, you can now create a veteran rank 1 item, all the way up to veteran rank 3. We then move on to sanded ash. Here you can create items veteran rank 4 all the way up to veteran rank 6. Then we move on to mahogany. Here you can craft items that are veteran rank 7 up to veteran rank 8. And finally we have nightwood. This will allow you to craft items from veteran rank 9 all the way up to veteran rank 14, our current max level. The next option in our creation screen is the style. This is actually what's going to change what your weapon or your shield looks like. You'll notice we have a little tiny preview here of what it's going to look like, and as I change the style, the bow actually changes. This does not determine how strong the bow is, what level it is for, or anything like that. All this does is change what it looks like. At first, you're only going to be able to choose your own race's style. So if you're an Imperial, you're only going to know Imperial. If you start out as a High Elf, you're only going to know the High Elf style. In order to learn all the different racial styles, you're going to have to find yourself racial motif books. When you do find these, you'll be able to read them, and from then on you will know that type of style for every weapon and every piece of armor. So you only have to find a book once. If you want to learn what all motif books are around, you can check out my general crafting guide as I go through all of them there. So back to creating our bow. We're going to just choose a random style here. And then the final option you have, if you even have it yet, is your trait. Here you can add a special type of passive that helps out your weapon or armor. So another thing to note is this may not be available to you. In order for traits to be available for you to craft items with, you need to research them. We'll cover research a little bit in this guide later on, but I do have an entire guide solely on researching. So we'll make this bow without a trait. Let's make it level 6, Dunmer, and we just hit R and craft. We just created our very first bow. All the steps are exactly the same for shield. You have all the same options, and choosing your level works the same, everything like that. The next tab we have is Deconstruct. Here, you can once again choose if you're looking at armor or weapons, and you can select an item to deconstruct it. What you're doing is actually taking the item apart, so you will be destroying the item in this process. But you have a chance to return some of the items that had to have been used to create that item. So all we used was a style stone and some maple. Let's see if we get anything back. We got our style stone and some of our maple back. That's great. If you're deconstructing items that are improved, so they're a fine item, green, or maybe an epic item, which is purple, you may actually have a chance to get an improvement material back as well. Something to note is that when you are choosing your style, you do need to have the appropriate style stones. Once you've read the book, you still have to find a stone, because everything you craft will take one style stone. Deconstruction is actually a good way to get inspiration, which is your crafting experience in woodworking. This is best done when you have another player that you can each craft up a bunch of items, you trade them, and deconstruct each other's crafted items. You will get more inspiration from another player's crafted items than you will from inspiration on dropped items or even your own crafted items. Our next tab we have is Improvement. We'll go ahead and make ourselves another bow really quick, just so we can show you how to improve it. Oh, here we made ourselves a shield. So what we're going to do is just add it to the window. Now you'll notice that if I scroll over this, it has an armor of 180, but the green version will have an armor of 240. So not only are you changing the color of the title, you're actually improving your item and making it better. Another thing to note is in order to improve something, you need to have the improvement material. In order to make something green in woodworking, you need pitch. Another thing is that you can see when I only have one pitch selected, I have a 50% chance. If you decide to take the risk and maybe it does not work, you will lose your improvement material as well as your item. You don't get to keep anything if it fails. So a good rule of thumb I live by is to make sure it's always at 100%. I only need to use 2 pitch because I put skill points into the one passive in the woodworking skill line that makes it so I need less improvement materials to improve anything. So let's go ahead and improve it. No matter what, it will warn you, this is a good time to double check the chance percentage is where you want it to be. Of course it worked. We had a 100% chance. Now, if you put this fine maple shield back in the window, we can continue to improve it onto a blue item, which is a superior item. In order to turn something superior, you're going to need turpin. We're not going to continue on because it is just a level 6 shield, but just know you always have to improve it to the prior color or improvement before you can move on to the next. In order to make anything that is epic or purple, you're going to need mastic. And if you want to make something even better and make it legendary, you're going to need rosin. Our last tab we have here is research. This is how you'll be able to actually learn all those traits and be able to craft your items using these traits. Here you can see I already have everything researched except this one Nirnhoned item. when you don't have everything researched, these will actually be a little faded out. They won't be so bright. And if you have an item available to research, it will mention researchable over here. It is a good idea to start researching as soon as possible because it takes a really long time. As well, another good reason to research is if you're looking for a special crafting station, you can only actually craft those special 5-piece sets if you know enough traits. For example, Death's Wind, which can be found in Glenumbra at the Chill House, you need to know 2 traits. That means if you know 2 traits for your bow, you'll be able to craft a bow with the special abilities that that set grants. But if you only know 1 trait on your shield, you will not be able to craft a shield there. This is another good time to show. This is another place you can craft, is when you find this icon. You can craft normal gear. You don't have to only craft set gear at these stations. If you want to learn more about researching, I have a guide entirely dedicated to researching. As well, another guide that explains every single trait in detail so you actually understand what these do. They'd be really good for you to check out after this. Finally, the last thing we're going to talk about is crafting writs. Crafting writs are available to you once you hit level 6 in ESO. What these are little quests that you have to do every day. You don't have to do it every day, but you can pick up to 1 per day to craft some items and turn it in. Now, this is a really good thing to do while you're leveling because it does give you quite a bit of inspiration. As well, you have a good chance to receive some improvement materials or ornate or intricate bows, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of woodworking items back from these crafting writs. You also receive a little bit of gold every time. All you need to do to complete a crafting writ is run up to a board once you are level 6 and pull a listing off. It's going to send you to a member near a guild hall and you'll have to get certified to carry on. Once you're certified, you'll be able to come up to this board every day and pull a crafting writ off. If you complete crafting all the items, it'll give you a drop box location. You go put the items in the drop box, so they will go missing, you don't get to keep them, and you will receive a little package of goodies. One of the great things that you can also receive is a crafting survey report. This is like one of those treasure maps, except where it leads you is a very dense cluster of resource nodes that actually give up way more raw materials than a normal resource node. So it's a good way to get all those raw materials you need while you're trying to finish all these crafting writs. There's also some achievements tied to woodworking itself, as well the crafting writs. So if we go under the crafting achievement section and head to woodworking, you'll see there's an achievement for attaining a woodworking rank of 50. This is max level for woodworking. You can also achieve an achievement once you've actually improved an item to every possible quality, which includes legendary. I haven't quite created a legendary gear yet, so I'm still waiting on that one. So, that's everything you need to know about blacksmithing. If there's anything else you need to know, feel free to leave a note in the comments and I will answer you as soon as possible. Make sure to also check out my general crafting guides, as I might have covered a couple things that I didn't necessarily cover here. Safe travels and happy questing!